Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy, the show that talks 100% LA Galaxy soccer. We're glad you could join us. Now it's time to sit back and relax as your hosts navigate through the twisting, turning, but never boring world of the five-time MLS Cup champion, LA Galaxy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com, coming to you live from COG Studios on Thursday, June 27th, ahead of the LA Galaxy's Saturday matchup with the San Jose Earthquakes. A lot of fun rumors out there sort of milling around. We're going to talk about that. We also have some mid-season awards that we're going to hand out. Have a good time with that as well. Get you an update from training, as Larry Morgan, not on Twitter, was out at training today, getting you all the latest from the training ground. Like I said, LA Galaxy getting ready to head up to San Jose for the very first Cali-Clasico, so that will be the focus at the end of this particular show. But before we get too far out of this, before we go too crazy, let's welcome the man, the myth, the legend. He's been here almost, 4 weeks in a row? 3 weeks in a row? It's too many. It's starting to get too many. Eric, the Portuguese hammer Vieira, is back.
It's 3 weeks in a row.
Yes.
It's good to be back. A little disappointed. Mike Araujo didn't mention I don't have the custom intro yet.
No, you don't.
Still not.
Darn, didn't get to that.
Yeah, I don't know how that made it through, but enough about me.
Yeah.
Congrats are in order.
Because I made it to another podcast.
No, I saw a post.
You saw a post.
For Papa Josh.
Yes.
A new father again. A father again.
A father
Congratulations.
again.
L'chaim.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, my wife and I are happy that we'll have a baby boy in December. So an off-season baby,
I was gonna say,
as requested.
The consummate professional even plans his children in the off-season.
Well
done.
I wouldn't say that, but I mean, it was.
Yeah, we don't want to get too much into the family planning aspect of this.
It was at least lucky. So
right.
So however we want to do that. So December.
Awesome.
Around December 19th or
Congratulations
so. We'll see.
to you and your lovely wife.
I was actually, I can say this. I'm sure my son, who will eventually be born, will hear this, 25 years down the road. But I was kind of hoping it would be a girl at one point, because then I would have one of each, and I could be,
I was going to say it. That's I'm in that boat, and I'm wrapped up. I'm good to go.
You're good to
Seal
go.
it up.
Yeah.
Let's go home.
Yeah, I was
take the 3 points and run.
I was gonna give a little like Vegas, like show my cards,
Yeah.
nothing in my hands, and I'm out. But that apparently didn't happen, which is just fine as well. So
yeah, it's all good.
A future soccer player, I'm sure.
Soccer player,
I'm sure.
Or a future podcaster,
or a future baby podcaster.
I think at some point everyone's just going to have a podcast. We're just going to be all dialed in.
Yeah, well that makes sense. I already told my wife, I'm like, so after the kid is born and everything's good, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that everything is going well, because my wife has been sick for the first 3 months.
That's part of it. And no meds, right?
No,
so that,
yeah. There was no fun at that. But once everything's good, that I think we'll have a special appearance by young podcasters.
That'd be amazing. Good stuff.
Well,
does that mean I'm losing my spot?
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe I shouldn't be celebrating.
For sure, you're out. Absolutely.
That's
all
why
right.
I'm stacking up my appearances now.
All right. Well, let's. I appreciate that. Thank
Congrats.
you for that. Let's get to the LA Galaxy. Why not?
That's why we're here.
That's what we do on this show, on occasion, anyway. Since last you were on, the Galaxy played at Cincinnati. They won 2-0. I would just like to know your general thoughts on that particular game from you. People have heard of. If you didn't hear Monday's podcast, by the way, I don't often say this, but it was one of the better ones that I've done by myself.
Oh, wow.
People should go. It's packed. Packed full of stuff.
Tooting your own horn. I like it.
Still relevant.
Self-promoter.
Still relevant on Thursday, Monday podcast. So
well done. Well, it's job done. I wasn't impressed last week, given the Open Cup performance. I thought the way GBS again, forgot his name. Barcelona, the way he set his lineup, it basically you needed 3 points or it was a failure, because I think even a draw against the last place team in Cincinnati, given the players they have away on international duty, 3 points was the only acceptable result given that week. They got 3 points. The manner in which they got 3 points, again, we were texting. This could have been a blowout. Should have been a blowout, but it wasn't. But at the same time, they got the job done. They walked out of there with 3 points. No one got injured. So you can't be upset with it, although I wasn't impressed, but they accomplished what they set out to accomplish. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I would say the best thing about that is they got 3 points. I mean, that's what I said on Monday as well. The best thing about that was
isn't that the goal, though?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that was the goal.
But I texted you after the second goal and said this should be a blowout.
Yeah, and I said it won't be.
But it should be,
but it won't be.
There was, and that's what happened. Yeah. So all those things are good. So anyway, no, the LA Galaxy get the win, which is what they did. Now the antics involved with that. So
that's the other piece of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think we're gonna get at least a little bit of some answers today, because Larry Morgan went out to training and we got that sort of update, and they asked Zlatan about this. And I'm told, by the way, I'm going to read you quotes from that. I'm told that Larry said that Zlatan was not confrontational about this at all. He was sort of like, yeah, he was joking a little bit about it and having a good time.
You know, and Zlatan knows how to lead a conversation, so he knows how to own a room. So even when the antics were a little bit over the top and probably a bit unnecessary, but at the end of the day, we know who Zlatan is, and we know this is kind of part of his persona. And if someone is going to call him on it, he's going to find a way to flip that and make himself look better, because that's what Zlatan does. He knows how to command a room.
He does know how to. He knows how to do. I mean, it's a show.
Yeah.
It's both a show and not a show, and I think that's really hard to explain unless you kind of know the guy. And I've talked to some people who are around him all the time, and they're like, yes, that makes perfect sense.
Well, it's like Keanu Reeves. He plays himself in all these movies now, and he's probably like that a little bit, but of course, you turn it up to 11 when you're on screen or you're on the stage.
Right.
In Zlatan's case, on the pitch.
Not on this show, though.
Not on this show. This is what you see is what you get.
This is a 3, a solid 3 out of us. If you'd see this at 11, it would be...
That's why we bring the coffee in. We ramp it up to maybe a 4, maybe a 5.
We were talking that Eric and I do not need any caffeine before shows. That should probably be a bad idea. We should probably be on like the downside of that.
We need the downers.
Not on the up. Not on the up with the caffeine. So anyway, no, I mean, listen, that's sort of, again, I think you're right. I think you touched on it correctly that, with Ibrahimovic, it is what it is. You kind of get what you want. Ibrahimovic said afterwards, well, the real thing comes off the Sebastian Leget's quote, and I talked about it on Monday, and I talked about how if you look and see Sebastian Leget talking to Megan Riza, who did a great job with that, he wasn't like throwing the guy under the bus. He's just talking. It's not that big a deal.
And he said it with a smirk and a smile too. He said it very similar to what we were just saying. Zlatan's gonna Zlatan. There are a lot of professional athletes who are similar in this regard, and teammates. I thought Legit was fine with his comments, because Zlatan, the antics, some people were overreacting a little bit in my opinion, but at the same time they were antics.
Yes.
And so Legit commented on them, and they needed to be commented on. So that was a fair response.
Zlatan told Larry Morgan today, he says, I broke a lot of stuff after the game. The whole locker room I broke.
After a win.
Yeah, after a win. Yeah. He goes, he's joking, by the way, whenever he says this. They had to call the ambulance because 3 players were laying down in a coma. I apologize for the ambulance because I made them work. He goes, that's my game. I did it everywhere. Manchester United, Juventus, Barcelona, Milan. That's the environment I came from. I come here because I want a lot. I don't come here to relax. That's who I am, and so far I've won 33 trophies. That's probably more than MLS altogether. I mean, like, if you don't count,
Zlatan's gonna Zlatan.
If you're only going to count MLS Cups, yes, he's correct.
He's correct.
But there's other trophies.
Technically correct, the best kind of correct.
Let's see. That's the kind of environment. I already lost my spot.
Well, I was going to say, and while you look for your quote there, this is someone who's karate kicked his own teammates in training. So that's the scouting report on Zlatan. So if he's going to flop around on the field because he gets some poor service, maybe we're getting off easy here.
Yeah, he continues. He says, I come from a different game. I'm here 1 year, so you adjust. When you play 25 years on a level that is very intense, very high, it becomes natural and automatic. Then when you try and do it here, it doesn't come as direct and intense as it normally did. I just have to adjust and be patient. I'm still learning and adjusting. It's difficult to bring MLS to a level I came from. It takes time. Which again,
there's some shade there.
But
it's not
accurate.
wrong.
It's accurate shade.
He's technically correct.
He's again
the best kind of correct.
He says, I think in the game I need to have more patience. He's talking about the patience. He says, I think in the game I need to have more because I have a lot of will. I want a lot, and I play with a lot of emotion. I want to do a lot of things, but sometimes it's impossible to do that. If you're patient, the ball will come, and as long as you're moving, keep creating, keep being focused, and be on your toes, things will come. Maybe they don't come the first 2-3 times, but you need to be ready. The guys are trying. He's talking about the Galaxy here. The guys are trying, and they're doing their best. The same for me. I'm also trying. Sometimes it goes, sometimes not.
He seems to me like he's at the top of Maslow's hierarchy here.
Yeah.
Self-actualization. He's reflective. He's going back, owning his actions, thinking back on what he can do better next time. seems to me like someone who's on top of it.
I never thought we'd bring the pyramid into this.
You didn't think
okay.
I was
no.
Maslow reference. Well, last week with the vocabulary, I needed to score some points this week.
I understand. More Audi index points for you. He's, there's a whole bunch of other stuff here from Zlatan, but that's really where we wanted to go. Here's the big updates that you needed to know from training. Basically, that everybody is good to go. Everybody who's not an international is good to go, except for Jorgen Skjelvik.
Okay, I was going to say, not everybody.
Yeah, so Skjelvik is out with a toe injury. He was out last game. He has a toe injury, and toe injuries are like the worst because how do you can't even put a little splint on a toe?
Well, I was going to say, for a soccer player, I think you need the use of your feet. So having a problem with your toe, that seems like a major issue.
Especially a defender who gets kicked all the time.
Yeah.
So that makes no sense. Here's the other thing that also got reported. Larry Morgan reporting all of this to us here, and then he wrote a great article about that. So you should go read this notebook. It talks about Fabio Alvarez and being comfortable in Los Angeles, which is great. So again, head to cornerofthegalaxy.com, read that article. It's a great notebook, really insightful, and also touches a little on the San Jose game as well that's coming up. So
Larry always does great work with those notebooks.
Larry's
good read.
Nailing it.
Great read.
Nailing it. And he sends it to me. He's like, "Oh, is this good?" I'm like, "Larry, like who else is putting these quotes out there? Nobody is putting this stuff out there, and there's other people covering this." But Larry has a way of doing it in a concise manner that like you can just.
Hey, Larry's gonna Larry.
Larry is gonna Larry. Absolutely. So anyway, that's it. The other bit of information was that one player did leave early today, and that was Sebastian Lletget. Sebastian Lletget told GBS, he said, "Hey, I'm feeling a little tired today, so I'm just going to head in a little bit early." Now, from the reactions, there were only a few. But still,
Twitter is not real life, Josh.
Twitter is
not real life. Repeat it.
From the responses of about 2 or 3 of you, you all act like Sebastian Lletget's still playing ASO.
Yeah.
These are professional athletes, and I think we've explained this multiple times in multiple different ways. Professional athletes get tired from playing games on back-to-back, like in midweek and then on the weekend. That's a thing that happens all the time.
I was saying we can point to our record when we're on short rest if people want evidence of that.
Yeah, it's not good. So that's one thing. And then professional athletes, I don't know, in any professional sport, how whenever you always, Eric, whenever we were on teams, we're always like, "Yes, coach, got it, coach," and all this stuff.
Go run to that fence. You bet. You bet, coach.
Yeah, and these guys are like, "Hey, Guillermo, how's it going today? Did you have a nice day?" And Guillermo's like, "Okay, guys, I want you to work hard today." And they're like, "You got it, Guillermo." And they're not like, our coach. They might call him coach. I mean, there's some respect there, and there's clear that there's respect. But there's respect from the other side as well, which is that players and managers have a respect that whenever you're not feeling 100%, you need to say something to somebody.
And also, with a team that's right now has a lot of players gone on international duty, an injury is something that can really harm this team. And so if your body, Lletget is coming off of an injury. He had to be subbed off early, 3 games ago, 4 games ago? I mean, I know there was the international break in between, but this is someone who's had an injury history on the field. He's going to know, hey, if I push it a little too hard, I can re-injure myself. We have a game in 2 days. I need to take myself out of this drill. I think what happens is people hear Lletget left early. He was tired. There's a narrative because Lletget maybe hasn't lived up to expectations. And I know we have
this year.
I was going to say we have some awards coming up, and he may be a recipient of 1 or 2 of them. He hasn't lived up to expectations. So when you have a player who isn't living up to expectation, leaving practice early, it makes it very easy to push the narrative. Oh, come on, what's wrong with this guy? Why isn't he working hard? I think that just that I think is what kind of snowball affected some people's reactions.
Well, and the other thing is that I think we all live within the trauma of Giovanni Dos Santos, and like, I'm not going to practice today because I'm injured, and there's certainly allegedly there's certainly some of that, and I can understand people viewing that through the window. But Sebastian Lletget has, whenever he's on the field, tries as hard as anybody I've ever seen.
Yes.
There's no, and by the way,
the work rate is not the knock on him.
By the way, we're talking about practice. All right, we're talking about
Alan
practice.
Iverson here?
Yes, no, I mean we are talking about practice. And by the way, when you leave early from training, you know what that usually means is that you went through all of the stuff that you were supposed to do, and then the individual stuff that guys do afterwards. He probably didn't do any of that.
Okay, well, unless Valdecantos followed him home.
He could have.
He may have.
He could have.
I wouldn't put it past him.
He could barge in at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Get in the bicycle.
And he's like, you do the sit-ups. Do the sit-ups. I always feel like he's German more than he's like, Argentine.
I don't know why. I just always imagine the cigarette in his hand. I just feel like that's part of it. I don't know why. He seems
like a very healthy guy. I don't think he would be at the cigarette.
That's why it doesn't make any sense. But that's just how I imagine it.
I understand how that means. Well, so that's sort of your update from training. It looks like everybody that was playing in last game is probably going to play in this game.
Unchanged lineup.
I'm thinking unchanged. Yeah, which means that Dave Romney will get a chance at his 4th consecutive MLS shutout whenever he starts. I had to MLS it.
Yeah, I like the caveat, but well done.
The Open Cup there doesn't. But yeah, it seems likely that Romney will probably get that started left back. So we'll talk about a little bit more of that game coming up here towards the end of the thing, the end of the show, not just the thing.
Hey, it's the thing. What's that thing we do?
You know, it's been a
Good
long
stuff.
week.
What time is it?
I'm headed up to. I'm on vacation right now as we speak. I'm headed up to San Jose on Friday.
Not even supposed to be here today.
Yeah, exactly. Now clerks. All right, cool. So I'm actually not even going to come back until Monday evening. So if you're looking for a Monday podcast, there isn't one. It'll be on Tuesday night, more than likely.
And with the 4th of July break, I think that's
makes
fair.
Some sense. Yeah,
we'll allow it.
Thanks, I appreciate that. So you're looking at Tuesday night. That'll get you ready for the July 4th game. And then there probably is no game because there's no game in that weekend, so it'll go back to the Monday. So that's how that works if you're looking at the schedule of the shows coming up. All right. So I'll be up in San Jose though, providing coverage. So you can follow at Galaxy Podcast on Twitter, and you'll have all of my in-game and lead up to all that stuff. The Galaxy will travel up to San Jose on Friday. So actually, I think they're leaving way after me though. So I don't think we'll run into them.
You're not going to catch the same flight?
No. I'm not going up to LAX whenever I can fly out of Orange County. That's 5 minutes away. So
smart move.
Yeah, I leave at like 6:45 a.m. I doubt they're getting up at 4:30 to get up to San Jose.
They're not getting the economy plus.
No. That's not how it goes. So they'll be up there on Friday night, and then the game is on Saturday at 7 p.m. Then they fly back on Sunday. They train on Monday because they do have the game on Thursday. So that'll sort of be their weekly schedule as we go. But being the LA Galaxy are through 17 games, now officially halfway through the season. On Monday, I sort of gave you an update on the charts and sort of where the LA Galaxy fit right now. And I told you that basically, if you're looking at all these things, the LA Galaxy are on pace to tie some of their higher seasons right now, which is interesting because they're really not that much further ahead than the 2018. There's a gap there, but it's only like 6, 7, 8 points from where they were at 17 games. It's not gigantic.
Yeah, I was going to say two wins away from being tied for first place is not a bad look.
No, not at all, especially with the leaders right now, LAFC. This is prediction, a little prognostication, but LAFC is entering a ridiculous string of games all in a row, and so far everybody in Major League Soccer has been touched by the schedule bug. This very well could be the LAFC time. And
then the timing of it, given the games that they have in the middle of July, might be very fortunate if you're a Galaxy fan out there.
Yeah, it's something that we'll continue to talk about as we lead up more to the El Tráfico, but with the El Clasico. So all those things with the charts and everything that we sort of laid out tells you that the LA Galaxy right now are actually in a pretty good spot. And we've also told you in previous shows that with the condensed schedule that's coming in, a schedule that really nobody has ever ran before in Major League Soccer, you're going to see things that probably defy what you normally see in Major League Soccer. But there's going to be games there's going to be times where I think that the Galaxy have a chance to go on some runs and also could get their butts kicked, and that might be the same with every other team. So it's not necessarily a bad thing or a panic thing.
Yeah, it could be a coin flip, and that's why that we're at the official halfway point, 17 games, and that they're still sitting in second. This is a good thing because it may be if you go 50-50, 500 on the way down, they may be able to hold their position if everyone else kind of has the same type of into the second half of the season. All
right, so what we wanted to do then is at the midway, after telling you all about the charts and everything on Monday, we wanted to go through and sort of give out what are our mid-season awards or where the LA Galaxy sit at mid-season. Now, I'm going to tell you some of the categories that are going to come at the end of this because I want you to already be thinking about the stupid categories that we put together. They're creative.
Yeah.
They're creative. They're fun.
We have to have fun with it. That's why the Thursday show exists.
We have real categories that we will definitely get to, including the mid-season MVP, the mid-season LVP, the least valuable player, the mid-season goal of the season so far, the biggest disappointment midway through. Those are all sort of some of the more traditional ones.
Yeah, there you go. Well played.
Traditional ones. We also will attempt to answer the most successful kit.
Oh yeah. Thanks for including that.
Yes, I was going
to say you knew who your co-host was today.
Player most likely to get beaten up in a game by Zlatan is an award that we'll hand out for just through the midway. It could change at the end of the year. I'm going to save these categories. We will come back to these. See if it is our social media MVP, the player you most want to have a beer with, your best college campus tour guide player. Most likely to screw something up at Willy Wonka's chocolate factory player.
It's my personal favorite.
Yeah, player most likely to be eaten by a Velociraptor in Jurrasic Park. That one actually, I think we're going to have some good answers for that. You might want to stick around for that one. And player, my favorite. This one is my favorite category. Okay. Player most likely to attempt opening a Capri-Sun from the top instead of just flipping it over and using the bottom, because everybody knows you just use the bottom. You don't have to try to do it.
Hard disagree.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're going to have that. So anyway, these are the categories that we're going to attempt to answer. But before we get into the wacky ones that are just sort of out there and we can have some fun, we wanted to get really to some of the questions that need to be answered at midseason. So let's start in a place that is informative about the LA Galaxy. The biggest sort of midseason questions that I had, I sort of ran a couple of these through, and one that we have to answer first is, the LA Galaxy went through all this transformation. Guillermo Barros-Schelotto's in. Dennis DeClosa is in. We've so far seen that probably GBS hasn't been able to implement everything that he's wanted to do so far, but has he imprinted on this team yet? Has he put his stamp on it and what it is? So one of the biggest questions that everybody always asks, and I have a difficult time answering, is what is the Galaxy style of play right now under Guillermo Barros-Schelotto? Do you have an answer?
Oh, you're just going to put me on the spot right there?
I want you to start.
I think their style of play is pretty predictable in the fact that, they build from the back, push it out to the wing, and then cross it back into the box to Zlatan. I think the way their personnel is set up is to push forward and possess moving forward, and then once they get it out to the wing, to put it back inside and go to your target striker. I think right now that's how they're set up, and that's their style of play. The thing that's tricky is when Zlatan's not on the field and you have, Ima Boateng up in that place, or you have Uriel Antuna playing the long ball to Ima Boateng over the top is not the best game plan. Right. But if that's how you've been practicing, that's how your style has been prepped, it's going to be difficult to go away with that and change your game plan when you have a different striker. But I think right now that's their style, is to build up, push it to the wing, and then the wings bring it to the center to your target.
Yeah, I think the biggest sort of, I don't know if it's the hallmark or the biggest indication of what GBS is trying to do is the fact that the outside backs, the right back and the left back, are so integral to the offense, right? And they have to be. And that means that, a lot of times you're tucking those inside midfielders inside more, right? So those guys who are in front. So you're not necessarily getting the crosses from Uriel and Tuna. You're getting the crosses from whoever's playing the left back.
From your Rolf Felchers, from your Polentas pushing up. Yeah, right. Those overlapping runs.
Right. And so that, to me, is the style of play. The other thing I agree with you 100% is the lone striker up top seems to be more of a style. Now, I think that's going to change. I think Guillermo really wants to play a 4-3-3.
Well, yeah. And again, I've looked at the show notes. I have thoughts.
You have thoughts. Okay, good. So I really, I mean, that's the next question is what should their style of play be under GBS? And I think that's where we answered. It is a 4-3-3. It's about having probably more technical midfielders and midfielders that are able to score and cross, and you're still going to get the outside backs pressing forward.
But therein lies the rub.
Yes.
Because I think with the personnel on this team, you can't really, what should their style of be? Should their style of play be? I think it should be, overlapping runs in the wings and putting it into your target striker, because right now that's who you have. You have Zlatan up front. You have, your wing backs who can give the best service outside. I don't think are the top midfielders, the ones who are on the wings, are the ones to send in that service, like you mentioned, although Antuna has shown that he can do it on occasion. I think right now their style of play should be the what they've been doing, because that's what their personnel gives them. Now, is that what GBS wants? I don't think that's necessarily what he wants, but I think with the personnel he has, that he's using the best option that he has with the roster that he has.
You know what's crazy also, if we're talking about style play, I think the Galaxy, and the reason that they've won 3 games in a row on the road, are a better counterattacking team than they are a possession-based team. And that's has GBS put a stamp on how the LA Galaxy play, and I'm sort of like, maybe I don't know yet, because here's the thing is that the reason they're having success on the road is because they're a counterattacking team. Whenever they sit back and defend, they're a much better defending team than they are an attacking team and a possession team.
And I think that's when you don't have Zlatan, I think that should 100% be the game plan. Sit back, rely on your defenders, and then counter with speed. I think that is definitely a style of play that I think is attractive, and I think that's something that the Galaxy would benefit from. So I am on board with that being their style of play. I just think with their personnel, with Zlatan up front, I don't know that it lends itself to that.
It's harder. It's harder. I mean, possession, the Galaxy can play the possession game, and at home, the reason they've been losing is that they have like 65% possession, but they can't create in the final. They can't break down teams who are doing what they're good at, which is sitting back and
waiting for the counter.
Listen, league-wide thing, by the way. Road teams sit back and counter and have a lot of success, and home teams have possession and are supposed to have more success, except for this year when they're tired and they're not doing it. So
bet the schedule. A wise man once told me.
Bet the schedule, dude. That's coming up to San Jose. It's really messing with my head right now, and I've been arguing. Whenever I do the show notes, obviously I'm sitting there trying to, formulate my answers in my head, right? It helps the show go in the directions that I think we should go and all that stuff. So I'm formulating. So this whole time I've been flipping back and forth and back and forth. So there's no answer at the end of the show that I have of what I think is going to happen.
It's guaranteed to be wrong. That's all it is.
We know that. So then we basically have three head honchos here with the LA Galaxy when you think about it. Well, number one is Chris Klein as the LA Galaxy president. Number two is Dennis DeClosa as the general manager that get brought in, and then Guillermo Barros-Schelotto basically in charge of that technical staff and all that stuff. So those are the three guys. So how have each of those three guys done through the first 17 games?
Are we giving grades?
I don't like grades. Just give me your feelings on each one.
My brain wants to go to grades. I think Chris Klein, like a B performance is what stands out because he's been quiet.
Right.
The Galaxy has had success because he's let the general manager do their job, let the head coach do their job. So he hasn't interfered, but at the same time, you don't look back and say, well, Chris Klein did this, did X.
He has. I mean,
so you can't give him praise and really elevate him to that role. But at the same time, we haven't bungled the situation in years past, so I don't know that we can be too upset with his performance this season.
Can you say A for this season because of the fact he made, and I don't even know if it was him, but he made a conscious effort to not be involved because his involvement. I still feel like,
that's a tricky. It's tricky waters because I think you need to do something of worth to maybe elevate you to that A territory,
right?
That going above and beyond. I think right now, just doing what you're supposed to be doing. You can argue that that's what a president should do. Is you don't need the president, getting involved in every single aspect. It's hiring the right people and letting them do their thing.
Yeah,
and that he's done.
Okay, so we agree he's somewhere in that, and understanding that. So then you look at Dennis DeClosa. I mean, so I was trying to think, like, if you're not going to give him an A, let's say if you're not going to give him, like, he did a great job,
an A+,
then you, if you're that's. As any teacher, you start with 100% and then we subtract, right? So, I mean, where are you subtracting from? Because really, in all the moves that he's made so far, it seems like they've worked. I mean, has he missed on anybody?
I don't think he's missed. I think the only maybe question mark may be Pipo, and I think he just needs to settle in, I think. And so that still remains to be seen, but it doesn't look like he's going to be a disaster on the field. And so you look at the players that he's brought in, he hasn't missed, and until that's 100% for me.
It's hard.
Until there's a contract that over the next few seasons we say, man, we really are paying this guy too much,
right?
And it's hamstringing us because we're unable to go and get other players. I think given the way that we thought the Galaxy were against the cap, we didn't think they were going to bring in the players that they did, and the players that they've brought in have been starting caliber players who are succeeding on the field. And if we're going to talk rumor watch. Christian Pavone,
right.
When we first heard that rumor, it's like, it costs too much money. He'd need a DP slot. There's just no way it works out. If that deal goes through, then give extra credit to Dennis DeClosa because he's figuring out the mechanisms and finding a way to bring top talent to the Galaxy, and for that, I don't think he's had a misstep so far.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with anything you said. GBS, how has Guillermo? So Guillermo's a little hit and miss for me. And the only reason is that I think that that his second half adjustments, where I thought at one point the Galaxy were a second half team, that doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
It seems the opposite.
It's a question of when he pulls subs in, I feel like he waits too long, and then maybe some of his not tactics, because I hate getting into that. You don't know what he's saying out there, so I can't really question his tactics if he's telling everybody, let's sit back and just absorb the pressure and we're good to go. I mean, and you're like, okay,
roll the ball out, let the players do their thing.
We're
not hearing the X's and O's conversation from him.
Yeah, it's not like he's playing the 3-6-1 from Steve Sampson's World Cup. I was just listening to American Fiasco, so that was
a classic.
If you haven't listened to that podcast, it's
especially
very interesting.
Now with the current Women's World Cup team in France.
Yes,
there's some good connections there.
There's some fun stuff to sort of pay attention to. But anyway, I mean, there's not like he hasn't put out crazy lineups. Yeah. There's I think he's learned from some of the mistakes he's made already.
I think if anything, he's been too conservative.
Maybe he has. I really think that he's settling in, and I think he is sort of putting a stamp on things. So the big questions then go are what pieces are the LA Galaxy missing, and where do they need to add in the summer? And I think the rumor points to the piece that they're missing, which is they need a right winger. They need a creative goal-scoring threat.
You said it right there, a goal scorer.
Yeah.
I think not necessarily a striker, but someone who isn't afraid to shoot, someone who has a record of scoring goals, has a history of scoring goals. That, to me, is someone you need. I think you need someone to help supplement Zlatan's ability to put the ball in the back of the net. Ola Kamara was that guy. he had a knack for finding a way to score a goal. Wasn't always the prettiest goal, wasn't necessarily the best technical skill, but he knew how to score.
Right.
And I think there's something to be said for that. I think Alessandrini is someone who could have filled that role. He knows how to score. He, has the ability to score, not afraid to shoot. And so now with him out, that's what's lacking. So I think Pavone appears to be someone who they're looking and targeting. That's the type of player they need. Someone who's not afraid to shoot, a history of goal scoring, someone who could put the ball in the back of the net. That to me is what they need, an additional goal scorer.
So midway through the season right now, you get to play the, what asset are you willing to trade to get something? Now, the rules on this are fairly simple, because it's standard rules whenever you look at all this stuff, which is you can't get rid of something you don't want for something you do. So all y'all who just raised your hands trying to get rid of Jorgen Skjelvik, calm down. Nobody's taking Jorgen Skjelvik.
He's
right?
not on my list.
He's not on the list of people. In my mind, the assets you're willing to trade to get something are: does anybody fancy Boateng? What can you bring in for Boateng?
Well,
Dave
you
Romney
kind of argued against yourself a little bit.
Yeah,
because I think he's maybe given apart from last week. I don't know that other teams would look at that and say that's really an attractive asset. But maybe they could look back at past tape and look at the positives.
I think
turn him into something.
I think he's ranked higher in other circles than he is probably in LA.
Okay.
That seems to be things.
But
yeah,
I'd be willing to
try
right.
to
if there's another team.
Who else could you have?
Someone that stands out is we talked about a little bit last week, Rolf Felcher. So someone you see the writing on the wall on the Rolf. Thank you.
Yes.
That Araujo is going to be the one who's going to eventually be groomed for that role. He seems to be holding that spot now, and Romney seems like a player who can fill in and spot check. So if Rolf was someone who another team would be willing to take him, you lose the internationals, you're able to save the international slot by getting rid of an international player. That seems to be like someone who might be attractive to another team, and that you have a starting player in waiting. You
want to get major cash for somebody? Trade Daniel Steres.
You think major cash is coming for him?
I mean, so tell me, for the most part, tell me that he's not starting on most MLS teams
100%.
If you trade him, right? He's starting.
He's 100% a starter.
And he's a domestic player, which is
attractive.
Which is why the Galaxy wouldn't want to do it, but it's very attractive to everybody else.
That just screams a lot of tam and gam.
Yes, tam and jam.
I knew that one would upset you.
Okay.
But yeah, I think a lot of teams would be willing to trade for Daniel Steres. So if that helps you in any way, I could see that being a positive. But he's been so good this season. It'd be tough. That's tough, but that's the rub.
All right.
If you're going to gain something from it, you need to give up something.
Trade the Portuguese dude was somebody in the chat room.
Trade all the Portuguese dudes because they're gone.
He's loaned. There's
unless they're talking about me. I don't think a team wants me.
Madam Serrano uses sell in quotation marks and says, sell Jorgen to Hammarby, get Pavone on a prorated TAM deal, full purchase in the winter.
I mean,
sure. That's a great deal. Can you make that deal?
I think I finally put the pieces together. I think Madam Serrano is Dennis Teclosa.
I think it is.
I think he knows all the mechanisms to make this work.
That's how it works. Dream trades. That's like what they should have a dream the trade machine here. It's like does not compute. No, your trade is not accepted.
Hammarby has rejected your offer.
Yeah, they're like, why? They wrote back and said, why would we want Jorgen Skjelvik?
Shrug emoji.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't work at all. All right, let's get to some of the awards then that we have. Let's get to best win / signature win. Let's start there. I don't think there is a signature win. Do you think there's a signature win?
The funny thing is you say it just about every time I'm here. The best win is against Philadelphia. And in my brain, I want to say, no, it's not. But when you look back, it really is.
2-0.
The caveat is Marco Fabian got injured early. So one of their best players went out, and there was a late red card. But at the same time, shutout.
2-0.
They scored 2 goals. They dominated possession. Jim Curtin after the game said they couldn't keep up. So I think that's their signature win. That's their best win of the season.
I will put the other one in there as well. I don't think there is a signature win. I think there's a best win. I mean, parsing words, but however you want to say it. I had that one in mind as well, so it's there. I think it might be my second because just the way the LA Galaxy played for 75 minutes of the Minnesota game. The 3-2 win.
That's where they lose me.
No Ibrahimovic was 2-0 thanks to 2 first half goals. It was such a good win for the Galaxy, and it was without Ibrahimovic. Yeah. I mean, that to me, the way that they flew around, everybody was excited. Remember after that game how excited everybody was?
And people, that's when Antuna, given the Gold Cup that he's having now, he's definitely on everyone's radar. But that was the first game where you realize this guy's got wheels, he has a heart, and this is someone who's going to work hard for this team. That kind of put Antuna on the map for me. So I understand that wanting to be a signature win, but the meltdown and giving up those goals quickly and almost blowing that game, takes it out of contention for me.
Okay, I understand. Let's go to the worst win.
Worst win.
The worst win. So what game did the LA Galaxy win that you were sort of like, wow, okay, I mean, I'll take it, but...
Well, it was at SKC.
Oh.
And to me, it's because SKC basically blew that game. They had a lot of opportunities, missed a lot of open shots. The Galaxy did well, and they had that stretch where they put 2 goals in the back of the net, and they were able miraculously to keep Sporting Kansas City from scoring. But I didn't walk away from that game saying, wow, the Galaxy dominated that game and they made it happen. I think, wow, SKC really let the Galaxy sneak out of there with 3 points. And to me, that's why I consider that the worst win. But you could argue that that's the best win for that reason.
It could be. I mean, yeah, that's why. I mean, there's not that. For me, the worst one was the last one over Cincinnati because
Ugly,
if you saw, it was just ugly. I mean, listen, if I'm Zlatan Ibrahimovic, I'm laying down on the grass at the end of that game because I'm like, could anybody find the ball for me?
Yeah,
because I mean,
that's
you
fair.
had Cincinnati pressed up. This is not a deep Cincinnati team. They were tired. They didn't. You knew they were going to lose. I mean,
should have been a blowout.
It should have been a blowout. It was 2-0 early in the 15th minute. It should have been a 5 or 6-0 game.
Yes.
That game should have been over a long time, and they let Cincinnati hang around there. So for me, the worst win is Cincinnati. I do like your Sporting Kansas City one though. That was one of those. It's like highway robbery. Run,
I don't know
run to the plane.
I don't know how you did it. Secure the bag. Get out of there.
Run to the plane. All right, let's go to the best loss now through 17 games. So remember, these are all mid-season awards. Best loss. All right, mine is, which is interesting.
Okay.
I tried look through a whole bunch of these. I'm not sure I really believe in any of these, but I'm going to go with the one.
Well, I've got a clear one.
It's
clear to me.
To me, the best loss the Galaxy took was the 2-0 loss to New York City FC. I
Wow.
know why they lost. They were tired. I know why they lost to, and that started with the Columbus game, right? And so why that happened. And New York City is a really good team, even though they have like 17 ties through 17 games. Like they have all those things. So in my mind, it was like, listen, you could, and that wasn't a game where you were like, oh, the Galaxy weren't competing in that game. I mean, New York City was dominating it, but at the same time, I felt like it was
a pretty disappointing loss at home. I think was that the first loss at home this season. It probably was.
Yeah.
Because the Fortress is back, the Galaxy are back. It was a bit of a letdown.
Okay, so which one's yours?
Best loss for me is again same city, New York, but the New York Red Bulls.
I had that.
That to me away. Being able to put 2 goals in, they looked hungry. They looked like they could do it, and it was just silly mistakes that cost them that game. But I think they looked good in that game.
That was the best loss for you.
Yeah, that was the best loss.
That might be in my worst loss category, and there's reasons for that.
Okay.
So again, best loss we've covered now.
Okay.
Let's go to worst loss, which in this case I have 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5.
That's not
5
fair.
on here. I know.
You're supposed to pick one.
It's really hard. Okay, so I'll give you sort of my 5, and and then maybe yours is included in this.
If I have a different one. There's only 7 losses this season.
I listed them all, so we should have them. So the worst loss for me, the 3-1 loss to Columbus. To me,
that was runner-up for me. I had 2 actually.
Because the Columbus one for me is because everybody knew what was at stake. You could have taken over first in the league. Guillermo went out there, as we all wanted him to, went out there and put a first-team lineup in and was tired whenever they got there and really just got played right off the field, 3-1, and it wasn't close. And it hurt the team long range because then they learned to lose to New York City, and it's like
they stretched it.
They kept trying. So that one has repercussions.
That's
it's
fair.
not just that one.
And looking back, that game is one where the Galaxy came out and it's like it was over before it started. It just seemed like they were beat. They shouldn't have been, but they did not have it in that game. They didn't look dangerous. There was no point in that game where you thought the Galaxy can get 3 points in Columbus. It was over pretty quick.
Well, and then I have the New York Red Bull 3-2 loss to New York Red Bulls. Galaxy outshot New York 20-14.
Yeah.
They outpossessed New York 62-38. They dominated New York at every turn, and they lost that game
telling
3-2.
You're making my case. They played well. That's their best loss.
The 1-0 loss to Colorado is there in terms of worst loss. The 2-1 loss to New England. Bad team. And the 4-0 loss to Portland in Open Cup.
Is that allowed?
I don't know.
This is the MLS halfway point.
It is.
Dave Romney's MLS.
Yeah, that's right. Whenever you talk about MLS. The only reason I threw that in there is because we talked about that.
Yeah.
That the Galaxy shouldn't have lost that game 4-0. It was bad play from a undermanned roster.
You could have lived with losing, but losing in that fashion was embarrassing.
It was bad. So anyway, okay, what are your worst loss?
Mine was the Colorado loss. 0-1. For the same reason Cincinnati was your worst win, is because it should have been a blowout. even without Zlatan, they had no business losing that game. They've won without Zlatan on the field, going away to Orlando. This was a huge talent gap between the Galaxy and a winless team at the time. And I just think they had no business letting Colorado hang around and then score in the final 8 minutes of the game. It just, a tie would have been bad. A loss was really bad. That to me was probably the worst they looked all season. They just were completely toothless on that day versus Colorado.
All right, let's go to a little happier category here.
I was going to say, we really brought it down there.
Yeah, we did.
Should have ended with best win.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm not
hindsight,
about,
2020.
yeah, however we can rearrange that in post, right? No, we can't. That's the answer to that.
We're live.
We try not to
That's
edit.
why you got to tune in live.
Yeah, that's how it goes. That's okay. MVP. So your most valuable player through the first 17 games of the season. I think it's pretty obvious, but who do you have?
It's obvious if you're Josh Guesman, but
Yes.
not if you're the Portuguese Hammer. It's Zlatan.
Oh my God!
He's your MVP. It's a no-brainer. He leads the team in goals. This team would not be in the position they're in without the goals that Zlatan brings. He's the MVP. I know, don't get cute. Don't get cute with your answer.
MVP,
it's Zlatan.
Your MVP was lying face down,
but
crying on the turf.
That's
at
what you
Nippert
want.
Stadium.
That's what you want. You want the guy who gets so upset that you have to call the ambulance after the game.
It's very simple. And again, you're right. You shouldn't overthink it. It's Jonathan Dos Santos. It's not even close. Whenever he plays the LA Galaxy, whenever he plays well, the LA Galaxy dominate. They dominate the midfield. They can dominate into the offensive side of things. They dominate on defense. When Jonathan Dos Santos is playing, I don't think there's a better midfielder in Major League Soccer. And the fact that he's an All-Star was well deserved, even though the fact that nobody should go to the All-Star.
Listen, you're not wrong, but you're not right. It's Zlatan.
Okay.
I know it's not a sexy pick because you want to go, overthink it and say, well, they dominate in possession. It's like you need goals. You need to score goals to win the game, and Zlatan does that.
I'm glad that you picked somebody that people will be angry with because I need a little more love on Team Josh than Team Hammer.
Yeah, the week that everyone's upset with Zlatan is when I'm going to show him tons of love. Smart move.
Team Pato. Team Pato. That's what we need a little more of, a little less Team Hammer right now.
It is what it is. You don't have to like it, but you respect it.
But you respect. I don't think I respect it right now. Okay, then let's go to the least valuable player on this, and we also have like biggest disappointment and biggest surprise. Yeah. So there's biggest disappointment doesn't necessarily have to be any of these.
And I chose these with purpose.
Okay, so go ahead. You can go least valuable player.
If people were upset with me with picking Zlatan as MVP, they're going to be very upset with my LVP, which is, to me, it's Juninho. To me, he's someone who you brought in and you would hope to get, again, I'm looking at the title, least valuable.
Yeah, get out.
He's getting zero value on this team. And to me, you hope that he would be able to contribute, but to me, it doesn't seem like he can contribute to this team. And so to me, that's what makes him least valuable. But I understand the argument. He hasn't gotten enough playing time to really impact this team. So how can you be least valuable? But to me, it's because I thought we were going to get a little bit more out of him.
Here's the thing. I'll be looking for a new co-host because speaking ill of Juninho is not allowed.
I knew I went 2 for 2, and I'm going to be gone next week. So
yeah.
Enjoy.
Sophie's going to be back. I'm sure.
She's warming
no problems. Yeah, that's right.
What's up?
Least valuable player for me is whenever I look at it, see like the heights that you were expecting from the player and how much they were supposed to contribute and all those other things. And for me, even though it's an injury, it's Roman Alessandrini.
Oh, wow.
And the reason
that doesn't seem fair.
He's a designated player. You expected him to be there. Yes, he got injured, but was he playing all that well before he got injured? The answer is no. And now you don't even have him because he did get injured. It's unfair. I agree, but that's the truth.
Yeah, and at the same time, when you talk about value, if you're trying to bring in an Argentine player and you need an international slot, if Alessandrini was playing well and healthy, he might be a valuable asset. And right now he is not that. So I want to say that's not fair, but at the same time, the argument is sound.
So let's see. On our least valuable, we kicked Juninho and Roman Alessandrini. Yeah, that's great. I'm sure
no one's listening. We can do whatever we want for the rest of the episode. Everyone's gone.
Turned it off already. All right.
Hey, we have fun categories coming later, folks.
Don't miss the Velociraptor category. That's one you're going to want to get to. Goal of the season so far is an easy one. Everybody agrees that it's Zlatan Ibrahimovic's bicycle kick.
Yeah.
You and I talked about it beforehand because I said, what am I supposed to remember? All the goals from all the season? You're like, no, just go with the one you remember. And I said, well, technically the one I remember more than any of that is not Zlatan Ibrahimovic's bicycle kick goal. It's the winner. It should be. I understand why.
The best goal. It's the goal of the season.
It was in a loss, which makes
that's the
I don't
stain.
like.
That's the stain on that goal.
The best goal was the one. I think it was the second goal against Minnesota. Maybe it was the first goal.
Oh, it was the build-up.
It was the build-up. It was the nice play.
That's fair.
And it was Emmanuel Boateng who split 2 players to get the ball to Rolf Felcher in the box. Felcher's crossed to Pontius, and Pontius. And it's if you go back and watch it right now, you're gonna feel good about that.
Except
if you watch
it goes in off Pontius's neck.
No, it's just chest. He stuck out the man chest on that.
Yeah, and that's fair. And the other one, I thought you were going to pick, your MVP, Jonah versus Orlando. That was a nice little rocket. That was a nice goal, a memorable goal as well.
It is. I always like those.
Yeah,
I was like my favorite Galaxy goal of all time is I think one of the was Sean Franklin goals where the ball got knocked out and he hit a laser from 30 yards out. Got
on a rope.
It's when defenders score. It's too much for me to handle.
And again,
all right.
Jonathan Dos Santos. I thought that was money in the bank, but it's Zlatan.
Biggest disappointment for the LA Galaxy through 17 games, and I think we have the same one. I have to imagine that the biggest disappointment is the same one. Go ahead. You start.
To me, it's Sebastian Lletget.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, and I almost put Alessandrini for the same reason you gave him least valuable, because it's disappointing that he went out and we didn't get to see him eventually turn it around, because it didn't seem like he had it going at the beginning of the season. But Lletget has been there,
right?
And to not have a goal, he does have a goal this season because of the Minnesota game.
Yes, continue. No.
But I think the expectation is with this midfield, with the triangle with Jonah and Corona and Lletget, you thought this was going to be a powerful center, and it just seems like Lletget. He's lost kind of the finishing touch. It doesn't seem like he wants to go to goal. He wants to play provider a little too much, which the irony being is that he's actually second in the category for shots on goal for the team, or shots, I think.
Right.
So he is taking shots, but it just doesn't seem like they're valuable shots.
It's not clicking, and that's why he's also number one. I'll tell you, I had two others as well. Rolf Felcher has been a disappointment for me this year, only because he's been injured. He hasn't been in the lineup as much. When he plays, he does okay. The other side of that is really Jorgen Skjelvik, who also is a big disappointment. And this is why. It wasn't that I was expecting him to get so much better playing at left back, which is more his natural position, but he is more comfortable at left back, but it's just not as much as I would have like to see for $1 million still.
It's not night and day. It's a slight improvement.
It's a slight. So that's why. So biggest surprise then of this 17 games in 2019. Who's your biggest surprise? And I think I have three of them with one clear standout to me. So do you want me to go first?
I'm going to go. I have two. I have a runner-up.
Okay, who's your runner-up?
Which is Uriel Antuna.
Okay, I like it. He's not on my list.
Okay, so I think he's the biggest surprise just because he was an unknown quantity. I mean, if you were following him along at Hammarby, I mean, kudos to you, but I don't think anyone... Is that where he came from? No, Groningen.
No, it was some other place that I've never heard of.
I just want to say Hammarby. Who brought up Hammarby earlier?
It was Madame Serrano.
Yeah. But again, it just seemed like an unknown quantity, and you didn't know what you were going to get. And I've been pleasantly surprised.
Dennis knew,
and especially with his confidence that he's gaining in the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
But to me, the biggest surprise has been Daniel Steres. I think bringing in defenders, you thought, well, there goes Daniel Steres' starting spot.
Adios.
And he's just done nothing. Short of being
perfect, almost
essentially what should be the captain right back there on defense. For those of you, if you're going to take away the captain's armband from the big Swedish guy, I think Daniel's next in line, in my opinion.
After Jonathan,
because
whenever Jonathan comes back, then Jonathan, then Daniel. But yes, I agree.
I think
but
he's been the biggest surprise just because. I don't think people expected this.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. He's my number one. He's my number one biggest surprise.
We're on the same page.
We're on the same page with Daniel Steres. Again, for all the reasons he shouldn't be playing, and he is, and he's forcing Guillermo Barros-Schelotto to be like, I can't take you off.
He's forcing him. Yeah.
If he would take Daniel Steres off right now, I think people would be like, what are you doing? Yeah. Although, if you put Giancarlo and Diego Polenta back there, are you really that... I'm like, okay, you can try that, but why would you when Daniel Steres has played? So, Perry Kitchen has been a big surprise for me. I think he's played, and granted, he's been injured so much. We've seen a very short window.
I was going to say, the sample size big enough to give him the award.
David Bingham, also a surprise. Okay. I think he's played a lot better than I expected him to sort of play. I expected him to be average. I think he's been above average.
He's had some moments.
He will always have moments. Guess what? Jaime Pinedo had moments, all right? People just tend to forget that he had moments. Donovan Ricketts had moments. Josh Saunders had moments.
Brian Rowe had a moment yesterday. Our brain went to the same thing. Because Brian Rowe definitely had moments while with Galaxy. And yesterday, if you saw the Wayne Rooney goal, that was not a shining moment on his highlight reel.
All right, let's go to our fun categories now. We got about 5-6 minutes to get through.
That's it?
Yeah, well, we'll see. If we're having a good time, we can go a little bit longer. I don't care. I mean, it's whatever we want to do. It's our show. We can be here till 9. I don't care. All right, let's go. And you have to give out this. You are the kit man. You watch the most successful kit for the LA Galaxy right now.
It's a kind of a cheat of an answer.
Yes, I like those.
The most successful kit has been the Parley Blue Spirit kit. Because they're undefeated. They're 1-0-0.
There it is.
In that. But I posted something on Twitter. If you follow me at GIS Hammer, I've been compiling if you know me, I'm a fan of a good looking jersey. So I've been keeping track of the Galaxy's record with their jersey. So in their primary white kits, they're 8-5-0. In Night Navy, they're 2-2-1. And in Parley Blue Spirit, they're 1-0-0. And so I have a Google spreadsheet with pictures and a breakdown of their records according to their uniform. So undefeated in their Parley kits.
Right.
But obviously they wear their white kits more than anything. So naturally, if they have a winning record, their white kit is going to be the most winning of the bunch.
Wow.
But there's just no losses in it.
Wow, I just didn't think you could get this wrong, and yet you have. Night Navy is the obvious answer, and nobody even liked that kit when it came out, and all of you are like, no, I loved it. We saw those responses. You've grown to it now. Yes. Even me, I like it now. And
that's why I refrained from giving an opinion on it at the beginning of the season.
Just don't, because you know you're going to like it eventually anyway.
At some point you'll come around, and it's grown on me for sure.
All right, player most likely to get beaten up in a game by Zlatan Ibrahimovic. To me, there are multiple answers that could be correct on this, because at one point I think Zlatan wanted to kill everybody.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think Sebastian Lletget is very high on that particular, and it's not because of his comments, it's because of the passes sometimes. Yeah. The other correct answers for this, I believe, is anyone who plays right or left back will also get beaten up in a game by Zlatan.
I had the wording on this one. I said most likely to get in a fight with Zlatan, and to me, Diego Polenta seems like a guy who's not going to shy away from a fight. So if Zlatan for any reason had any beef, I feel like they would definitely go at it.
Yeah,
I'd watch that UFC fight.
Joe in the chat room says that Ema would. The Ema's not going to get in a fight with Zlatan.
No,
they love each other.
Yeah, they're best buds.
That's BFFs. Best bromance right there.
Yeah, hey, save it.
Oh wait, I don't even have that one on here. We didn't even talk. You have it. Which one is it?
It's Ema and Zlatan.
Yeah, there you go.
But the cheat answer, it's Ema and anybody, because he gets along with everybody on that team. It could be Ema and Jonah. It can be Ema and Zlatan. There's a picture from training earlier today. Ema and Fabio are getting along. So Ema just seems like a guy who's easy to get along with.
It's because he's tiny and you can put him in your pocket. You can just take him anywhere.
And to that's the humor in watching Zlatan and him interact. Just the height difference alone makes it the best bromance.
I have a dark horse in your social media MVP. I know you were the social media expert, but I am going to tell you that the answer here that everybody's going to immediately go to is Sebastian Lletget, because he has the looks and I don't have it.
Incorrect. Yeah.
I know who I want.
Okay.
Rolf Felcher.
Oh, he's my co-MVP.
Co-MVP.
I have co-MVPs. Rolf and Jonah are probably the most active on social media, at least on Instagram. And to me, they give you a lot of nuggets. So I think they're good follows. And so if you're going to follow a few players, Rolf Felcher and Jonathan Dos Santos are definitely good follows.
Rolf Felcher is my pick because he has the voice of an angel.
Yeah, and a lot of dancing, a lot of singing.
That's gold right there.
It's a good time. But I do need to give honorable mention in this category. It's to the WAGs, the wives and girlfriends.
They're stepping it up.
That's where I really get the inside scoop. And so when I draw wild conclusions, it's because I look at the wives or the girlfriends page and I say, hey, wait, what's going on? This player's doing this. And then everyone laughs at me and said, well, why would you do that? And I say, hey, just going off the Instagram post. So shout out to the wives and girlfriends.
You're the real MVPs. Separate category next year. Separate category next year.
100%. Best WAG.
All right. The player you most want to have a beer with? I think this one is pretty obvious.
I was going to say we hinted at it earlier. Who is it?
For me, I went with Joe Corona.
Oh,
because
to have a Corona with Corona.
Corona with Corona. Except that
is Baxter in here?
Except I said that you can't drink Corona if you have a Corona with Corona. Yes.
To me, it's Emma Boateng.
Really?
He seems like a great hang.
Is he old enough to drink?
Yeah, of course.
Is he tall enough to drink?
He's tall enough to drink. He's tall enough to ride this ride. Emma Boateng is the person everyone loves Emma, and I love him too. So he's my best hang.
Joe Corona is the correct answer. You got that one wrong. And now, I mean, really, the most important. I think this is one of the most important categories that we've had is which player would be the best college campus tour guide.
I went with Chris Pontius.
Why Chris Pontius?
It just seems like he would know his way around a college campus. I don't know why. He just has that look like someone who would maybe be the president of a fraternity, a stand-up gentleman, glowing recommendation. He's going to show you all the proper things on the campus of Cal State Dominguez Hills.
Pontius is an excellent man, but you missed an obvious answer here. The obvious answer is Tomas Hilliard Arce, because he went to Stanford, right? So he's not an idiot, right? You don't want somebody who's an idiot leading you around a college campus. You don't want somebody to be like, this building was constructed in 1800.
This is a tall building.
It was 1800, and then somebody goes, why was it constructed in 1925? And it says 1925 right on the building. They're like, that's the address. Smart guy, that type of thing. That's a little road trip for you. I don't know.
Good stuff.
That was back in the day. So
Austin, Massachusetts.
It's Tomas Hilliard Arce is easily the correct answer with this. He went
I don't know about easily, but
easily.
It's your show. We'll move it along.
Most likely to screw something up. This was your category, I have to say.
It was my category. And I've already given him 2 awards. It's Emma.
Most likely to screw something up at Willy
Bo
Wonka's Chocolate Factory is Emmanuel Boateng. You think he can't follow rules?
I think that he'd mess something up. He'd fall in the chocolate river, or he'd eat a blueberry or an everlasting gobstopper. I just think he's mischievous, and that's why.
It's Jorgen Skjelvik because he likes the Swedish fish, even though he's from Norway. He would be like, oh, where this, and then he goes in and he's like, the schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
And then maybe Boateng comes out in the role of an Oompa Loompa to roll him out. That's mean. That's
not right.
That's heightest.
Especially with the next category, which is player most likely to be eaten by a Velociraptor in Jurrasic Park.
I've got
You have multiple
answers. My first answer is Juninho, just because,
Why?
I just feel
he's
like
not fast.
I just feel like, everyone would find a way to get away, and I just feel like Juninho would just be left behind, and the Velociraptor would get him. But I think the real answer is Zlatan. Zlatan would think he could wrestle the Velociraptor and then just get eaten and ravaged by it.
Yeah, the answer, I know everybody immediately went to like Emmanuel Boateng, but if you remember, that's just not fair. That's not fair to all of you. You know that they killed the black guy in that movie off early. So Ema's not the guy you want to put in there.
I think we just got shut down on YouTube.
You would think he would be fast, right? You think maybe he can outrun a Velociraptor? I don't think you can outrun a Velociraptor.
Well, yeah, that's clear. How well can you hide?
The answer is clearly Servando Carrasco.
Clearly, wow.
Clearly, because he looked good in that pit hat, right? Like the little hat that the guy had that whenever he was thinking. And you could understand him sort of like walking next to Laura Dern as she's lacing up the shoes, getting ready to run, and be like, we can't. They're hunting us.
So he has the look.
He has the look.
Okay.
That's
fair
fine.
enough. It's Juninho. That's okay. Or Zlatan.
Good. All right. Now the final one. I think this is the final one. Do we have any more after this?
That's all I got.
Okay. Good.
I'm tapped out.
Player most likely to attempt opening a Capri-Sun from the top instead of just flipping it over and using the bottom. I mean, we all know when you were a kid at halftime, you get your orange slices, or maybe afterwards you get your orange slices and you get your Capri-Sun.
Yeah, and Capri-Suns were after the game.
Yeah.
You would always. Where'd you play that you got the Capri-Sun at halftime?
In the Orange County, man. We were rolling in it. You try to fit that straw in the top of the Capri-Sun, and lots of things bad could happen. You could go through the other side.
Oh, that's disaster.
You could break the straw. There's all these different things that could happen. So who on the LA Galaxy is bold enough? And I think there has to be precision from this player. There also has to be a certain recklessness, right? Yeah. Because you got to be like, I can get it in there.
Do we have the same answer? The way you're setting this up, I think we have the same answer.
I have two. So
go for it.
I'll let you go.
Mine is David Bingham.
What?
David Bingham just seems like someone he's not going to turn it over and take the easy route. He's going to go and try to thread the needle and just come right out and go for the top and go for the accuracy of that small little hole for the Capri-Sun.
Did you not just hear precision and recklessness? It's Zlatan.
Oh.
He's going to be like, I can do that.
I can throw it.
I can throw it. I can do
that. Pierce the opening.
The other person who I think it could be, somebody who's calm, who can be precise, and under a lot of pressure, Fabio Alvarez.
Okay.
Right?
You know what? That's
in
fair.
the middle of everybody,
I like
you could sort of understand where he's going. Yes.
I've got a wild card.
I've
got a wild card.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
I think Rolf Felcher would put it in the side. There was always the one kid who turned it on its side and put the straw in. I think that's Rolf. The conventional life directions just don't apply to him. He'd go on the side of the Capri-Sun.
He's like, I don't like your rules. Yeah. He's like, you want me to take my shirt off? That's Rolf Felcher.
He 100% would be shirtless.
As he was doing this, yes. Maybe just poke it and just chug it, maybe. Maybe squeeze it.
That's the way to do it.
All right, so there you go. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to give away a Corner of the Galaxy scarf. What you have to do...
I thought we were going to give a signed Capri-Sun.
Yeah, well...
next show, live show.
Yeah, no, it won't happen. Next live show, we're having Capri-Suns. That's what it's going to be. We're going to give away an LA Galaxy, a Corner of the Galaxy scarf. So if you want to get a Corner of the Galaxy scarf, you have to email us at cornerofthegalaxy@gmail.com. You email us with your category and your answer. You have to do this by next Thursday, basically, or next Friday. Let's do it through next Friday.
Okay.
So that way it gives everybody a chance to sort of get in there. But cornerofthegalaxy@gmail.com. Give us your category and your answer. The best category with the best answer. That one person, Eric and I will decide who wins that.
Well done. I like that. And then we could definitely go through honorable mention for those of you who have some good categories. I'm excited. This will be fun.
This is good times. All right. So I know we went a little crazy on that. We had some fun, but you know what? It's a long show. So there's plenty of good stuff in there. The Gold Cup schedule coming up. There's one game that you really should be watching. It's on Saturday. I think it's about 6:30 p.m. is the kickoff time. Mexico versus Costa Rica. Somebody asked who you should be rooting for in this particular game, because with Costa Rica you have Giancarlo Gonzalez, and with Mexico you have Jonathan Dos Santos and Uriel Antuna. So the clear answer as an LA Galaxy fan is you're rooting for Costa Rica.
Oh, okay.
because you want Jonathan Dos Santos.
I was going to say, as an American, you root for the Velociraptor to come in and just tear everyone apart.
Yeah,
but okay, I'll go with Costa Rica winning that one.
Then you get Jonathan back.
You get Jonathan and Uriel, and everything's okay.
I don't think that's happening, by the way. Panama, Ernesto Walker, I believe, still with Panama there, so they're playing Jamaica on Sunday. If you're paying attention to that one, and then the other game, if you're looking for a rooting interest, is you're going to want to be rooting for Argentina on Friday at noon as they play Rolf Felcher's Venezuela, because you want Rolf to be done. Yeah. And the chances are that is the end for them.
Yeah, most likely.
I don't know. Argentina
hasn't looked great, but at the same time, this is what they do. They don't look great, and then they end up just scrapping away wins, getting 90th minute penalties, and they have Messi on the field, so you never count them out.
Excuse me. As far as injuries go, Ramon Alessandrini's still out. Rolf Felcher, we have no idea. He gets lots of treatment. I haven't seen him play any minutes
yet. He's getting a massage the other day, so yeah, if he's injured, he's getting it worked on.
That's certain. And then Jorgen Skjelvik with toe injury right now. That is it for the LA Galaxy's injuries as far as we know. We'll see what happens when guys come back from Gold Cup and maybe with Rolf Felcher coming back from Copa America, and sort of how they reintegrate and whether they go straight in or whether they need some time off.
I think what the timeline is going to be, because let's say worst case scenario, Mexico does get eliminated. Worst case scenario, if you're Mexico, Uriel and Jonathan come back, but do they start immediately, or do you give them lead time? Do they need to acclimate, or is it because they've already been getting minutes with the national team, they're ready to go? So it's going to be interesting how they're integrated back in.
All right, let's get you updated on Christian Pavon as well. Here, let's see, how do we couch all this? There seems to have been a move, at least on Tuesday, that the LA Galaxy have offered a firm amount of money. Now, the rumored amount that's out there has been out there for a while. It's $12 million and about 50% of the player. That seems to sort of be where everybody's settling on. Whether or not that's true or not, I've been told that maybe those numbers aren't true, and they're not 100%. It could still turn out to be that way. There's lots of information sort of coming in and out as we talk. The stuff that I can tell you about and that I can give you information about is that the LA Galaxy are still interested. We know that. Guillermo Barros-Schelotto said it, and talking with people, my people close to the club, it seems like the Galaxy are still interested in Pavon. So with Pavon possibly coming in, it still sinks. There's still a lot of work to be done here, and that's sort of anybody you see talking about it right now. If they're saying that it's imminent, I don't believe it's imminent. I believe this is going to have to play out. I believe that the Galaxy are going to have to figure out ways to open up room. The designated player thing is an issue. There seems to be an indication, at least from some close to the club, that Ramon Alessandrini is not going anywhere. So if he's not going anywhere, then how do you bring in Pavon, and how does that work? It seems like there is.
Is that a political move, though? Because you're not going to say Alessandrini's going anywhere.
It could be
until Pavon is in town and it has the contract in front of him. You don't, because if something falls through, we know with international players things can fall through with visas and with bank transfers. There are a lot of things that can go wrong. So if you already say Alessandrini's on his way out to bring Pavon in and it falls through, then you have an angry Alessandrini come September if he eventually gets healthy. So it seems like that's the piece that needs to go.
There's this,
but we'll see.
There's this interesting take that I don't know how feasible it is. I mean, technically, I think with the averages and the contracts and stuff like that, you might be able to sign Alessandrini to an extension, and therefore the average of that, whatever that is, it would be a lower amount than the 1.8 or 1.9 he's almost making. Whenever you look at it, it would be a lower amount, and then that would average out the rest of the contract. It's still there to be below $1.5 million, which is then a TAM.
Yeah. Well, that was the discussion with Giovanni Dos Santos at the start of the season, is that they were going to extend him through 2056, and that he'd be making less money. You'd stretch that out over time. But with Alessandrini, it's a lower amount of money.
It's a lower, which again, I think but that also makes sense in terms of what Alessandrini wants to stay. He's been wanting a contract extension. The Galaxy have not extended it. Is this a way? But does that also hurt the LA Galaxy? With his injury history, is that something?
Yeah.
So anyway, the big takeaways I want you to understand as you're looking at all of these is that as far as I'm concerned right now, and I'm sure this will change on Friday, but as far as I'm concerned, the LA Galaxy are interested. There seems to be an actual offer that has either been made or will be made. It seems like Boca is sort of mulling that over. The numbers haven't changed in terms of like the $12 million and the 50%. That stayed the same. That means the Galaxy would have to sell him for $24 million basically to break even.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, you don't need to break even on this. I know everybody thinks you do, but if you get if you lose $3 million on this deal,
but you get a couple of good seasons,
you get a couple. That's
that's well worth it.
But I mean, I think the Galaxy are also thinking that if he plays well, that you're also looking at a potential for a much higher ceiling in the $40 million range.
And I think that's MLS 3.0 is the selling league approach, getting a young player, have him showcase his talent, and then head off to Europe.
All right, let's get you through the standings here real quick. By the way, if you didn't catch it on Monday, there were lots of rumors that Diego Polenta was going somewhere. I'm here to smash those, and I think I am the one who smashed them.
I was going to say, I was the one who was guilty of fueling the flame there.
The flames?
I just said, Polenta's someone who I liked. There's a rumor that he's going. He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. See you later.
I like him too much. Things never go my way. The pessimist in me said he's gone.
I've been told that he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I also got told that Jelle Van Damme wasn't going anywhere.
Ooh, careful.
Yeah. That was actually Chris Klein actually told us that, and that was then like a month later he was gone. So it was like when it took a little while.
Maybe he was telling the truth,
and he could have at the time.
He was
maybe
saying that. He wasn't expecting.
And I fully believe that he was. I don't think he lied to me. I just think it changed. So that's where you're at. Let's see. Eastern Conference right now, Philadelphia Union got a draw, which basically brings them to 32 points and jumped the LA Galaxy in the overall standings. So the Galaxy now sit third in the Supporter Shield. Philadelphia Union sit tops in the East. At 32 points.
And one more game played for Philadelphia as well.
Oh, yeah, they're at 8. Montreal has 19 games played. Like, some of this stuff is crazy.
It's wacky.
Philadelphia Union, Montreal Impact, DC United, Atlanta United in 4th, New York Red Bulls in 5th, New York City FC in 6th, and Toronto in 7th. Toronto coming up for the LA Galaxy here shortly. Western Conference is LAFC at the top. They are 6 points ahead and played one less game than the LA Galaxy. LA Galaxy at 31 points, Seattle Sounders at 26, FC Dallas at 26. Houston now has been on a little bit of a slide. So as hot as Houston was, and everybody said, oh, wait, they have a whole bunch of games, which, by the way, they still have 2 games in hand on the LA Galaxy, but their points per game has come down to 1.6, the LA Galaxy at 1.82, so that seems to have slowed down.
And they were the one team when they kept hovering around the top of the standings that just didn't seem like they were for real, and it seems like they're kind of falling in line. I don't think they're going to fall out of a playoff spot, but I think they're probably not a top 1 or 2 or third place team.
Yeah, everybody's mad at you, by the way, for making them upset about Polenta. That was the whole. They're yelling at you in the chat.
Don't believe me.
Yeah, I was going to say,
believe Josh. Yeah, I'm just a guy.
Eric will text me every once in a while. Like, what?
I'm the guy
is this happening? Oh, I was wrong on that. Okay.
I'm the guy who saw Uriel Antuna's wife post something and said he didn't travel. That's me. He's a panic.
And then I asked about it.
And then they yell at Josh.
Then they yell at me. Yeah. So it's good times.
Don't listen to me.
Schedule right now, the LA Galaxy have 1 game remaining in June. Then they head on over to July 4th against Toronto. Friday, July 12th against the Earthquakes. So Earthquakes, Toronto, Earthquakes is how that goes. And then LAFC on Friday, July 19th. So get ready for that. And then also Tuesday, July 23rd on my birthday. The team is punishing me by making me go cover a game that doesn't matter against Club Tijuana in the Leagues Cup.
The Leagues Cup.
Whatever that is. Let's see. And then, Portland at the end of July. So lots of games coming up, some tough opponents as well. We'll see how the LA Galaxy do and all that. All right, it's Cali-Clasico time. I don't know if everybody is ready for it. Are you ready for it, Hammer?
I'm always ready. I did my research. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to roll.
All right, then here we go. Let's get ready for the Cali-Clasico.
Raise your hand if you are hella ready for the Cali-Clasico. This Saturday night, the Smurfs will once again cash in on their Southern California rivals by moving the game from the San Jose YMCA to Stanford Stadium in Palo Alto. The game is scheduled for 7 p.m. and the broadcast will be on Spectrum Sportsnet or your favorite illegal MLS stream. The Galaxy are led by Swedish national team legend Zlatan Ibrahimovic and will run up against a surging Earthquake squad captained by Belgian national team hero Chris Wondolowski. You probably won't need to wait until after the game for the fireworks show because this edition of the Cali-Clasico adds some Argentine Super Clasico flavor, as this will be the first MLS meeting between managers Mateus Almeida and Guillermo Barros-Schelotto. Which one of these rivals will come out on top? To quote former LA Galaxy defender Jelle Van Damme, California is Los Angeles.
All right, there we go. A nice little calm intro. That was good.
Was that calm?
No, it wasn't. Okay. That was me being sarcastic.
I was going to say I called Chris Wondolowski a Belgian. I thought that was,
Yeah,
I had to fire my shots.
I enjoyed all of your shots that were fired. They were. I think everybody is. I mean, the reactions will come on the chat room. It's always a little bit delayed for us. So
of course.
So I gotta set it in. Boom, mic drop. That's what's going on right now. All right, the LA Galaxy getting ready to face off against the San Jose Earthquakes. Let's just be honest for a second. San Jose is not the crappy team.
They're hot right now.
That was at the beginning of the year. San Jose also has a pretty dominant record whenever you look at what happens at Stanford Stadium.
Yeah.
And I was talking to some players today. And basically I said, what do you think? And they said, crazy things happen in the Cali-Clasico. There's, late goals, which I think is correct.
You expect goals. I think that's something you can expect. I think both teams get amped up for this game. So whether they're new to the rivalry, because there are a lot of new faces on the LA Galaxy, there's something when teams know who their rivals are, they usually get up for these games. And I think given the managers' histories, I think they know who each other are, and so they're going to want to put their best team forward on that night.
Well, here's sort of the interesting stuff whenever you look at San Jose. They're undefeated in their last 5. The Galaxy have won 3 of their last 4, and 3 in a row on the road. They're actually looking for 4 in a row on the road at Stanford Stadium. Whenever you look at their record at Stanford Stadium, 1-4-2 at Stanford Stadium, only 1 win. Yeah. Crazy things happen. We talked about last year, a 3-1 lead in the 25th minute of that game for the LA
wild,
Galaxy. Yeah. And they ended up tying that game 3-3. This is also the game that has one of the weirdest moments in recent history, with Chris Wondolowski taking a penalty kick against David Bingham. Yeah. David Bingham saving said penalty kick, but the rebound was knocked back. Chris Wondolowski sunk it.
Goal.
Yeah, Chris Wondolowski sunk it and then stood over and screamed at David Bingham for reasons no one can comprehend.
It's because he's Chris Wondolowski. He's the worst.
I can't. There's one big thing. If he tries that again in this particular game, he's going to be knocked down.
He's going to get checked.
Because I can't believe that these guys would not remember that.
Yeah. Well, Bingham definitely remembers. And Bingham, who, given his history in San Jose, you can do a coin flip with some of his performances. You would hope that he gets up for this game.
I would hope, yeah. I mean, I think you're hoping that the LA Galaxy as a whole get up for this game. This is one of those interesting ones. So all that being said, the Galaxy overall, all-time 31, 22, and 15 in the Cali-Clasico. So a fairly dominant record over a ton of games whenever you look at this.
Does this count their time in Houston or no?
Good one.
You can't keep a team up there, can you? I know no one from San Jose listens to this.
I was going to say.
I just have to, keep disparaging them.
Yeah, I understand. That's fine. Whenever you look at it, Chris Wondolowski has 8 goals. Zlatan Ibrahimovic has 11 goals. They have Espinosa up there with 7 assists so far, and I think he has 2 goals as well.
He's one I'd watch out for as a player to watch.
He sort of seems like one of those guys. Here's the thing. San Jose totally started the first team lineup. On Wednesday, and they played on Wednesday night against the other San Jose team, the Houston Dynamo. So it was San Jose versus San Jose. That was the game I was pretty sure everybody was rooting for the Meteor as well.
Yeah.
Team
Velociraptor,
as it goes. So you look at all these things. It's a Cali-Clasico. It's a rivalry game. Trying to, again, we talk about betting the schedule, right? And so if you're a bet the schedule guy, which I'm a big proponent of, you look at this and say, okay, the LA Galaxy don't win at Stanford Stadium, so that's certainly against them. But San Jose started a first-team lineup on Wednesday. They've had a whole bunch of time off, so maybe it doesn't affect them. But if the schedule this year is held true, it tells you that teams that try to play back-to-back with the same lineup are going to have problems. And for me, San Jose is going out a little bit here. If you look again in that game against Houston, which, by the way, they fairly dominated in that game. If you watched it, it was 2-0. They did not pull any subs until the 88th minute.
I think that's an important note.
That's a very important note if I'm sort of looking at that. And you go back and look over their last 2 games that they played, and their last game they played, besides the June 26th game, was actually on June 8th. So they had a June 8th game, a 2-2 draw with FC Dallas in San Jose.
They also had the Open Cup games. They played Sacramento Republic and LAFC. They traveled down to across town there.
Yep. But if you're looking at the MLS games, I was trying to go back far enough to see like how much their lineup has changed, and it's not.
No, it's not changing. I looked at the Dallas game as well to see their starters, and it's essentially the same starting team.
Yeah. So I mean, either Almeida doesn't trust his bench at all,
which, if we know anything about the league's depth, that's
a problem.
Accurate. The Galaxy have the same situation.
They do a lot, and that's why Guillermo waits so long with his subs sometimes. But if you're looking at talent on the field, the LA Galaxy clearly more talented.
Yes.
But again, 50,000 plus. The average, by the way, the last 7 games played at Stanford Stadium, because they always play. This is their big payday. Yeah. This is why they don't play at Avaya.
They're cashing in.
They're cashing in. 50,424 is the average over the last 7 games at Stanford Stadium.
It's an event.
There was 50,743 last year. Whenever Zlatan remarked afterwards, he says, "I've played in bigger places."
Well, and I think these are your Zlatan games, and given that the fan base is probably not thrilled to them, again, even though Twitter's not real life, I think this is the game. These are the games he gets up for. I think of Minnesota last year. They said they're going to sell out their last game, and he went on there and he put on a show at Minnesota. I think you tell them this is a rivalry game. You tell them they're going in a bigger stadium, and I think these are the games that Zlatan lives for. So if you're a betting man, you bet the schedule and you bet on Zlatan doing some things.
It's tough. It's tough. Here's the only reason that I hesitate is because it's a rivalry game.
Yeah.
You kind of have to throw everything out the window.
Yeah. And the fact that just the form, they didn't look great against Cincinnati, and so you think San Jose is playing so much better right now. They have the hot hand, and so if you didn't play well against Cincinnati, how is that going to fare against a team at home with a home crowd, behind them? So that's where it's going to get tricky. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So the results are in for your particular intro this time.
Uh-oh. See, I can't see the chat room. I'm scared.
Yeah, I know it is. There's a lot of he probably could have done better.
Oh, wow.
Not his best performance. No, there was none of that. It was all fire.
Okay.
It was like boom, mic drop.
My heart sunk right there.
Super fan Pam had to text me and said that was one of my favorites. So there's lots of Team Hammer love again.
Right, now I'm blushing. See, yeah. I speak ill of Juninho and I earn them all back.
And you get them all back. You throw Juninho under a bus, like an airport bus.
I was going to say, I think I shouldn't have mentioned that.
Yeah, that was
Should have just moved on.
That's how it is. So that's what it is. The LA Galaxy get ready to face off against the San Jose Earthquakes. Coming up 7 p.m. kickoff times on Spectrum Sportsnet on Saturday, June 29th. Again, I will be up covering this game at Stanford Stadium. My first time to Stanford Stadium.
Congrats. Or I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't really know.
We'll
it's a college football stadium, so I'm excited that it's a different stadium I haven't been to. I actually like Avaya in terms of sightlines and watching a game. But
Stanford
cool
Stadium, like you said, someone who follows college football, it's historic ground.
It does. The whole Palo Alto campus there for Stanford is pretty a cool place. Yeah. So Tomas Hilliard could walk you around that.
There we go.
Campus.
Maybe this is his game to shine.
This is his chance.
Yeah.
This is his chance. All right. Again, LA Galaxy face off against the San Jose Earthquakes in the first of the Cali-Clasicos on Saturday, June 29th. Spectrum Sportsnet. You will be blocked on ESPN Plus. Do not come whining. No, I do not have a stream for you. Use a VPN like an adult. All right. I don't know what to tell you. So June 29th, 7 p.m. kickoff time. All right. Do you want to give
well, do you want 5:38?
5:38. Then your prediction.
All right. 5:38 has San Jose 45%, LA Galaxy 33%, 22% for a draw. My heart says LA Galaxy win this one, but I think the way San Jose is playing, I'm predicting a 2-2 draw.
Bet the schedule. The LA Galaxy win for the second time at Stanford Stadium.
Well done.
3-2. It will be wacky. There's going to be some wackiness. I'm guessing there's a red card in this game.
I would. Yeah, that's a fair bet.
There's a red card. If a prop bet, red card.
Well, and that's what when I was looking back, to get that exact Yellow Van Dam quote. And that game got a little hairy as well, a little dicey. So when you have players who have physicality and have bravado and ego, and you tell them it's a rivalry game, and you tell them there's a packed house, it would not surprise me if we saw a red card.
Going to be fun. All right, this weekend kicks it off, and then of course the LA Galaxy get ready for the home game Thursday, July 4th, hosting Toronto FC, who should still be missing people as long as the United States actually advance in the next one. So we'll see if that ends up holding out as well. That would be,
Pozzuelo's still on fire, though.
He is.
You still have to watch out for that.
He is, but I mean, if you don't have to deal with Michael Bradley and Josie Altidore, you don't want to deal with Michael Bradley and Josie Altidore. I mean, that seems pretty honest. I know there's people who are always like, I love the people who are always like, no, I want to play them at their best, man. I want to take. No, you don't. You want to take them at their weakest.
Give me the sick antelope. Yeah, that's what I want. I want the Velociraptor to get you.
Go on a run here. Go on a run. That's what the LA Galaxy need to do, because really you're going to see people who stumble here in the next month and a half. It's too condensed for everybody. There's gonna be stumbles, and you might see some of those top teams, especially LAFC, who has just a ridiculously packed schedule. This is why you didn't want to win the U.S. Open Cup. Might be the stumbling block for LAFC. Certainly something to watch as that comes down. All right. Anything else? You gave your prediction. I gave my prediction. We're good. 5:38. Everything. We're good.
We're beautiful. We're good to go.
I just wanted to make sure before we go. All right. Tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at GISHammer. You could also listen to me on the Guys in Shorts podcast. You can find them at Guys in Shorts Pod, and you could also follow me on Instagram with the Professional Foul. That's at Galaxy Profile. That's Galaxy PROFOUL.
All right, if you're looking for me on Twitter, it's at JGuesman, JGUESMAN, and of course at Galaxy Podcast. Head over to cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can buy scarves, you can buy stickers, you can buy all sorts of fun stuff there. Also get updated with Larry Morgan's recent training schedule right there. Definitely want to go to the training and read all that and sort of see what Larry wanted to put out there. Some great quotes about Fabio Alvarez, about the game, everything else. So a lot of really good stuff there. All right, I think that about does it again. If you're traveling up to San Jose, safe trip. Be safe, be smart while you're there. I will be up there in the press box covering the game, so if you have any questions you want me to ask players, make sure you hit me up before the end of the game. All right, for Eric the Portuguese Hammer Vieira, I'm Josh Guesman. You've been listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Have a great one, everybody.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast. And be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. And for all of your independent LA Galaxy news, discussion, and entertainment, including this podcast, head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com. Fans, thanks for listening. We ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everybody.